The 8th 2026 conference in Rio de Janeiro is under the lens for a mislabeled map of Africa being used at the event. Our next report is on the slip by an American official and how this mistake was made in the first place. Take a look.
Several health experts and global officials in attendance, a discussion focused on combating HIV/AIDS and America's role in it across countries. But it was not the agenda of the conference which came under the spotlight. Rather, the event in Brazil's capital made headlines for a controversy, triggered by an incorrect map of not one but 6 African countries. The African continent was correct, but the countries were mislabeled. This map was displayed by the US State Department during a discussion on its new health agreements. The 6 countries wrongly depicted include Nigeria, Mozambique, Uganda, Malawi, Ivory Coast. While the map mentioned Cameroon in the list, it was not depicted at all on the African map. The map displayed by US officials shows Nigeria in the Sahara region, when in reality it is a coastal country. A similar mistake was made with Mozambique, and Ivory Coast was moved from its original place to the opposite side of the continent. The US State Department admitted its mistake and issued an apology for the misrepresentation. In its statement, the department said that the map was generated and added last minute by an official. But as the gaffe became public knowledge, outrage erupted online. Several analysts criticized it as a failure to verify basic geographical fact, while others said that Africa was already an underrepresented region.
Well, I see it as more than just a cartographic error, because we're talking about the U.S. State Department, which is the country's primary diplomacy institution, admitting to such an error or mislabeling African countries. And that raises serious questions about attention to details, cultural awareness, and of course, respect for the continent. Let's be frank, a map is not just graphics. A map communicates political recognition, sovereignty, and identity. And now with this error, I would say it reinforces the whole criticism that Africa has been viewed from other Western countries as a single, indistinguishable entity rather than a collection of 54 independent countries.
US has deep interests across the African continent. The country has several thousand troops deployed in Nigeria. That's not all. US has given millions in aid to African countries, including the ones wrongly represented. US aid to Nigeria is almost 50 million so far this year. In 2025, the aid given was over $616 million. For Mozambique, the aid in 2026 so far is over 54 million. And it was over $500 million last year. The numbers are slightly lower in other countries, but still runs into hundreds of millions. It is clear from the image that the map was generated using openai tools, but the controversy it has generated puts the spotlight back on the need for human intervention and verification, while using artificial intelligence, especially in cases where governments present data and reports.
In a striking gaffe at the 8th 2026 conference in Rio, the US State Department displayed a map of Africa that misplaced every single country it named. The obvious AI image had, amongst others, Nigeria appearing landlocked in the Sahara, with Mozambique sitting in the Horn of Africa. US officials called it an unfortunate error by a staffer who rushed the slides and took full responsibility. Africans are impressed with the gaffe, as critics say the blunder shows careless disrespect, especially with African partners in the room, and reflects deeper loss of expertise. With many insisting African nations must be taken seriously. From Lagos, Nigeria, Louisa Olani, WION, World is One.